Today, we're going to take a look at 8 new Paradox Pokemon concepts we all wish Game Freak would add to the games in the near future. But let's be honest, they probably won't. Looks like you guys really enjoyed the last video in this series, so as always, get cozy, leave a like, consider subscribing because that's the best way to tell me, hey you, make more of this shit. And with that, let's jump into our first new Paradox Pokemon concept for a Gen 2 Pokemon that needs a bit more love, and that's Sunflora. Meet Joyful Sun, the Grass Fire type Paradox Pokemon. This concept was created by the amazing artist Ondu Region, and their link, as well as the other artists shown in this video, will be in the pinned comments down below. Now, right from the get-go, this Paradox Pokemon's typing is exactly what Sunflora's typing should have been. I mean, I think we could all agree on that. Okay, thank you. Moving on, I imagine that in ancient times, Joyful Sun was seen as a deity Pokemon where many probably prayed to it. I base this off of the fact that many ancient civilizations used to pray to the sun without sunglasses, but the reality of Joyful Sun is way cuter. This thing adores the sun so much that it runs towards it throughout the entire day trying to catch it. Now, I don't know about you, but I for one can totally relate. I remember always trying to play tag you're it with the sun, especially when I was a little Zatu with my mom and we went for a car ride. Man, that sun would always catch us and I never stood a chance, except for nighttime. As for moves, I think a combination of Rage Powder, Sunny Day, and Fire Blast make a ton of sense for this special attacking Pokemon. I know it's cute, but try not to stare at it too long or else it'll hurt your eyes. Moving on to the next ancient Pokemon we got on today's video, and that's a Pokemon who already has a few forms. With a resemblance to all forms of Executor, meet Ancient Eggs, the Psychic Dragon-type Paradox Pokemon. This concept was created by the amazing artist known as the Ponyo, and their links will also be in the pinned comments down below, so do yourselves a favor and definitely check them out. Now for this Pokemon, I decided to go with the combination of both forms of Executor's typings, making this version a link between the two. Now the only real difference is that Ancient Eggs is a little faster than both its counterparts, which is probably due to its extra set of feet, but on top of that, it's said that this Pokemon's heads all have their own sense of will and compete with one another through means of sheer mental strength in order to pick a leader. The leader is often the one with the most mental fortitude and psychic abilities, which makes it cunning and terrifying at the same time. I mean, look at that face. I, for one, would love to have one of these Pokemon on my team because the idea that it's both devious and smart makes me want to cuddle it. As for moves, definitely attacks like Psychic and Dragon Rush, but also I believe it would have some nice utility moves like Leech Seed. But what do you think? Now moving on to a Gen 1 classic water type Pokemon, Poliwrath, and giving it a more brutish relative, meet Brute Hopper, the water ground type Paradox Pokemon. This one is also created by the Ponyo, and I don't know what it is about this design, but it gives me hardcore Naruto vibes like Poliwrath untapped Sage mode and is about to go fight Pain in order to protect the Hidden Leaf Village, but alas, I digress. This brutish beast is an absolute tank that can also hit like one. Brute Hopper are extremely territorial and claim a 5-mile radius as their own. However, when another Brute Hopper mistakenly crosses over, or any Pokemon for that matter, they compete and battle it out, often causing earthquakes and shifting mountain ranges. This thing is no joke, and the swirl on its belly often leaves enemies dazed and unable to move, allowing Brute Hopper to channel his inner Urshifu and deliver a single fatal blow. This Pokemon's design is amazing and I love the horns on it, making it feel quite devilish. However, I think I'd be a bit too scared to catch this one, although its shiny is definitely something I want to hunt. And now for the last ancient Paradox Pokemon we got is a concept for a Generation 3 Pokemon, and that's this guy, Sableye. Meet Diamond Knuckle, the Ghost Rock type Paradox Pokemon. Yes, we finally did it. We got ourselves a Ghost Rock type, but only in our dreams. This one is created by the stellar, see what I did there? Ondu Region, and this concept is spot on with what I'd imagine an ancient Sableye relative to look like. Its speed is non-existent, however, which is a nod to its prankster ability, often not needing speed, and instead it has an astonishing attack and defensive stats. One hit from this thing and you might be ancient yourself. But now for this Paradox Pokemon's lore, we're tapping into Paldea region and suggesting that it is a mutation rather than just a Paradox Pokemon. Like, what if ancient Sableye, known for eating rocks, ate the wrong kind, and because of that, they turned into these giant, beastly Pokemon with giant shards protruding from their bodies, causing them to thrive in pain and agony? I mean, where's the humanity? Man, that little turtle's kind of a bad guy if that's the case. But either way, that's enough of ancient Paradox Pokemon. Now let's take a hop skip towards the future and check out these amazing future Paradox Pokemon. Starting with what is often referred to as Sableye's counterpart, Mawile, and its future relative, Iron Jaws, the fairy electric type Pokemon. Created by the artist Ondu Region, this thing looks like your average office stapler if it were possessed by a futuristic organism bent on taking over the world. This design is absolutely amazing, and I would not want to get in front of this Pokemon when it's readying up those mega launchers. Man, wouldn't it be great if Paradox Pokemon actually had abilities instead of those stupid photosynthesis and quark drive thingies? Regardless, Iron Jaws' cannons are set to have the ability to draw in all forms of particle energies and in turn reformat them into electrical energies that can be used as a source of power or destruction. Now, Iron Jaws can literally power up an entire planet or probably destroy it if it ever were able to ignore its programming that prohibits such a thing. I mean, yeah, like, that would never happen. Now, its stats make this Pokemon a more defensive and specially invested attacker with a ton of utility moves like Stealth Rocks and Substitute. However, its creators did program it to learn a few powerful destructive moves, like every type of beam move you can possibly imagine. So, approach responsibly. Now let's check out one of my favorite Pokemon, Conkeldurr, and check out their Paradox relative. Created by the Ponyo, meet Iron Pillars, the fighting rock type Paradox Pokemon. If you thought Conkeldurr was strong, just you wait till you get a load of this guy. With an even higher attack and defensive stat, Iron Pillars is a dominating force with a pretty decent survivability. It's said that this Pokemon often doesn't fight and instead is known as a guardian of highly classified facilities, often being the only thing stopping trespassers from infiltrating top secret locations. However, when it does need to battle, it can quickly obliterate foes without even moving a single pillar. This design is absolutely amazing, and I would love it if they gave my boy Conkeldurr some love in the future. Who knows, maybe we'll get something in the Generation 5 remix, or maybe I'm just huffing copium. Alright, now let's check out one many of you asked for in my last video. Oh yeah, if you haven't checked it out, do yourself a favor, especially if you like this kind of content. But that's this Generation 4 Pokemon, Roserade, another creation from the Ponyo. Meet Iron Roses, the poison dark type. And let me start by saying I totally get it. This thing is absolute heat, flames, I tells ya, from the visor to the rose-like hair and the needles that come out of its petal-like arms. This whole design is a 10 out of 10, and I'd really be surprised if I found someone not vibing with it. But not only that, I think its lore makes it 10 times better. You see, it's said that Iron Roses was created to be a sort of vigilante, crime-fighting superhero since, you know, crime is really rampant in the future. The scientists that created Iron Roses wanted it to help reestablish justice, peace, and order. Think Batman. But way cooler. However, due to some faulty programming, Iron Roses instead became a hero for Mother Nature and decided to take out its vengeance against literally every last person who was harming the planet in some sort of way. Yeesh, this thing just became 10 times scarier, and yet I still want to catch it. Maybe because of its really cool shiny version. Now, as for its stats, it's getting a similar Fluttermane treatment and becomes extremely fast and very specially invested. However, its HP is getting a little bit of a boost since, you know, it's fighting crime and all. And now, last but not least, you know this was coming, taking it back to one of the original created Pokemon and giving it a Paradox relative. Here's Mewtwo's future concept, created by the artist Ondu Region. Meet Iron Clone, the psychic fairy type Paradox Pokemon. Now, this one was tricky because Mewtwo's stats were really insanely high, so we accommodated that and gave Iron Clone a base stat total of 700. Not quite the strongest, but definitely stronger than the original Mewtwo, and way stronger than any other Paradox Pokemon. I know it doesn't follow the original Paradox Pokemon base stat spread, but it doesn't matter. This is all make-believe, so work with me here. The concept and lore of this Pokemon is one of my favorite, actually, and it's said that Iron Clone was created with the DNA of every single Pokemon that has ever existed, and that its mission is to travel the cosmos. and its mission is to travel the cosmos to find a new habitable planet and start recreating Pokemon and life on that distant planet. It's somewhat of a Noah's Ark concept in a whole future of Pokemon, which I think is kind of neat. With Arceus nowhere to be found and no other means of stretching life beyond the stars, Iron Clone became the last chance, the only chance really, that the last life forms inhabiting Earth had. But what do you guys think? Which one of these are your favorite? Let me know which Paradox Pokemon you'd like to see next. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Check out this video next, and see you soon. Bye.